Hi, this is the Microsoft PowerPoint Project instructional video. Our project is worth 70 points, and I'll have an example PowerPoint linked. But from the syllabus, our PowerPoint objectives are to plan, create, edit, and run a simple slideshow using a presentation graphics package. Of course, we'll use PowerPoint. We want to add transition and sound effects. We want to insert images into a slideshow. We want to add headers and footers to a slideshow presentation. We want to add animation effects to a presentation. And also, finally, we want to, and this is additional outside of the syllabus, but we want to include a hyperlink to a website in it as well, because that's just really an important thing to do. So the instructions are: students will plan, create, edit, and be able to, let's see if I can change, let's see here, change the size on there. We go. I can see that just a little bit better now. Okay, there we go, much better. Students will be able to plan, create, edit, and be able to run a simple slideshow using Microsoft PowerPoint. Your slideshow must be at least 5 slides long, so that's the minimal requirement. The topic of the presentation will be on a current or historical technology-related event, a trend, or a technology-related figure, for instance. So some examples might be the Internet. Tim Berners-Lee, who was a developer of the World Wide Web, maybe alternating current, direct current, and something about Edison and Tesla, because they were big players, initially in the development of all kinds of technology. Let's see, also maybe some other ideas might be the Mars rovers, and that would apply to robotics and artificial intelligence, or the microprocessor, for instance. So the research doesn't have to be in great detail. The goal is to learn something about the topic and be able to share it in a PowerPoint presentation. So, and again here, I just want to say review the example provided, so I'll do that. We'll take a look at that. So create a slideshow of at least 5 slides, so that's objective 1. It refers to objective 1, and there's 20 points. So, but use a design, okay? And typically a light or a white background with dark letters will make the best contrast for presenting in any kind of room, in any kind of lighting, with any kind of projector. 1 title page, 3 content pages. Now we want to use, generally speaking, the 7x7 rule. No more than 7 bullets with no more than 7 words up to each bullet. And if you have a narrative, try to keep them to 2 or 3 sentences. Now I've kind of followed that mostly, but though that rule it's a good rule, but sometimes you need to go a little bit beyond and above and beyond that. And I did in some cases with my example. And we have a works cited page, and then only reference the article and the HTTP source, web source. Your transition effects will be worth 5 points, sound effects 5 points, images, 2 images worth 10 points, 5 apiece, headers or footers, and actually you can do a header or footer, insert that into your presentation, so that's 10 points. And then animation effects, at least 2 slides need to have animation effects on it, so that is 5 points apiece, 10 points total, and then the hyperlink worth 10 points. Okay, so that is what that project looks like. Now the PowerPoint, and I've developed this PowerPoint, and let me get rid of some of these other things here so we can look at this. I did mine on a guy by the name of Marshall McLuhan, who was sort of a professor, a sage, if you will, of the electronic medium, and this was from the 60s. So he's a really important thinker of what and really presaged the rise of the internet. Okay, so we have the title page. Okay, a little bit about who McLuhan was with bullets, and you can see 7x7 rule to some extent. McLuhan's ideas, and I've added links. So on those links, you can highlight, for instance, a section of text, right-click, and then go to where is hyperlink? Let's go here. We can just right-click on that, and you can see edit, copy, remove or open a hyperlink. Okay, and then so I have a hyperlink there, and you can just add the hyperlink, and then some quotes from McLuhan, and a link, another link, and then a works cited page. And just generally speaking, Marshall McLuhan speaks with a link to a website, and then Marshall McLuhan quotes, and that's good enough for what we want to do. Let's go and run this slideshow. Okay, so we have that. Now we're going to have some transitions. Okay, there, even though I can't hear it, there was a sound effect. We have some transitions. And animations. Okay, so a little bit about the McLuhan. Canadian philosopher. McLuhan's work is considered one of the cornerstones of media theory. In the 1960s, he just suggested the idea of an interconnected world run by an electrical circuitry system, and that's what the internet really became. And he coined the phrase, "The medium is the message." Okay, and then at the very bottom we can see the footer, the images, McLuhan's ideas. Just a little bit about this. He wrote about this global village idea, and he talked about that. So that's a little bit about McLuhan's ideas, and you really ought to research McLuhan further, because it's really an interesting sort of, he's an interesting sort of person. And then we've got, where's that? There it is. Oh, let me go back up again. Ideas. He had the global village idea. He was talking about the communication via the internet in '66, and then the age of the information explosion. And if we go to this, if I can find this mouse again, there it is. We can just go click on this, and because it's a link, it should go out to a site and play.
Global Village is not created by the motor car.
Okay, so let me go back to the PowerPoint. All right, next slide, some quotes. And again, these quotes pop up there. All media exists to invest our lives with artificial perceptions and arbitrary values. That's interesting. And I wouldn't have seen it if I hadn't believed it. And then there's a link to some additional quotes. And then the works cited page. So as we see, that's really my expectation. That's what I hope you can develop, and then save that PowerPoint. That will be your project for the PowerPoint section, and then submit that to our Canvas site. So thank you very much.